My name's Harlan Whitaker, but they call me Hawk, because back in basic, I spotted a Jerry sniper from 200 yards through a rainstorm and put a round right through his scope. That was back in '43, when we were still kicking Krauts out of Sicily. By the time we hit Okinawa in April of 1945, I'd seen enough to know that war don't give a damn about your prayers or your principles. I was 38, shoulders like a Sherman tank from hauling gear and bodies, and my platoon, Easy Company, 77th Infantry Division, was down to 22 men after Leyte. We were bone-tired, smelling like sweat and cordite, waiting for the next push-up that godforsaken island. That's when they shipped in the replacements. A ragged bunch, most of them farm boys from Iowa or kids fresh off the assembly line in Detroit. But one stood out like a sore thumb. Private Elias Thorne, all of 20 years old, skinny as a bayonet, with eyes that darted like he expected the devil himself to pop out of the mud. He showed up in a clean uniform. Can you believe it? While the rest of us looked like we'd been dragged through a rice paddy. Carried a Bible tucked in his belt, no rifle slung over his shoulder. Just a medic's bag and that haunted look. The brass had tagged him a conscientious objector, Seventh-day Adventist, or some such. Wouldn't touch a garant. Said he'd sworn an oath to God not to kill. I took one look and felt my gut twist. We'd lost good men on Leyte. Tex Murphy, my barman, caught a Nambu round in the neck while covering our retreat. And now this. A Bible thumper who couldn't shoot back? Thorne, I barked during roll call. You forget your pop gun at Sunday school? The platoon chuckled, low and mean. Smitty, our radio man, real name Walter Smith, but we called him Sparky for the time he shorted out a field phone and lit up like a firecracker. Nudged the guy next to him. Sarge, he gonna heal us with hims? Elias just stood there, chin up, but his hands trembled on that medic pouch. Sergeant, I took an oath to save lives, not take 'em. I'll patch you boys up, everyone. His voice was soft, southern drawl from Virginia hills, like he was reciting from a textbook. Student medic, they'd said in his file. Knew more about sutures and sulfa powder than most docs twice his age. But oaths don't stop bullets. We moved out that afternoon, humping up a trail slick with monsoon rain, toward the escarpment the maps called Maida, but we dubbed Hacksaw Ridge for the jagged cliffs that looked like they'd chew through your soul. Japs held the high ground, bunkers honeycombed into the coral rock, mortars zeroed in like clockwork. My orders were simple. Scout the approaches, set up for the assault. Elias was tail-end Charlie, stumbling over roots, his pack straps chafing red welts on his shoulders. He kept muttering prayers under his breath, and every snap of a twig had him freezing like a deer in headlights. First contact came at dusk. We'd crested a low rise when the world lit up, knee mortar rounds whispering in, then cracking like thunder. Down! Foxhole! I yelled, diving into a shell crater. The platoon scattered, Garen's barking at shadows in the elephant grass. Smitty's Thompson chattered, stitching a Jap machine gun nest that had opened up from 50 yards. But Elias? The fool just stood there, bag clutched to his chest, eyes wide as the blast shook the earth. A round clipped a tree branch over his head, showering him with splinters. He didn't drop. He froze. I lunged, tackled him into the muck. Move your ass, Thorne, or I'll bury you myself. We hit the dirt as shrapnel whined overhead. He gasped, face pale as milk, whispering, "Please, God." I shoved him behind a log, my heart pounding not from fear but fury. This kid was a magnet for trouble. While the others laid down suppressing fire, Deadeye Jenkins, our sharpshooter from Kentucky, picking off a silhouette at 300 yards, Elias fumbled his helmet, nearly knocking it into view. One wrong twitch, and he'd draw fire on all of us. Back at the perimeter that night, under a sliver moon, I lit into him. The platoon gathered round a flickering cigarette lighter, passing around K-rations gone soggy. You think this is a church picnic, Private? Japs don't read your Bible. They got Arasakas and bayonets, and they're coming for blood. Elias sat cross-legged, picking at cold sirats, his uniform caked in red clay. Sarge, I ain't here to fight. I'm here to help. Learn my knots tying splints in med school, figure eights, bolants. Can fix a bleeder faster than you can reload. The men snorted. Preacher Hale, our saw gunner, lanky preacher's son from Alabama, mimicked tying an invisible rope. Yeah, tie one around your neck and save us the hassle. He didn't fight back, just nodded, eyes on the stars. But I saw the crack in him. The way his fingers twitched like they itched for a trigger he wouldn't pull. We'd lost 2 that day to a sniper we never saw. Elias had patched Jenkins' arm after a graze, quick and sure, staunching the blood with a field dressing while the rest of us traded lead. Saved the kid from bleeding out. But one good stitch don't make a soldier. He was a liability, plain and simple. Dragged us down with his wide-eyed stares and holy refusals. I figured the Ridge would sort him out, one way or another. War had a way of weeding the weak. As the rain drummed on our ponchos, I lay there thinking of my wife back in Philly, her last letter tucked in my breast pocket. Come home whole, Harlan. Yeah, well, Thorne was going to get somebody not whole if I didn't watch him like a hawk. Next morning, Brass called a briefing. Lieutenant Greer, fresh-faced West Pointer, all of 24, with maps and optimism, pointed to the escarpment looming like a saw blade against the sky. MacArthur wants this ridge by week's end. 96th divisions pinned on the left were the anvil. Greer was green as grass, but eager. My platoon was the hammer. Fix bayonets and charge the cliffs. Elias hovered at the back, no M1, just his bag and a Red Cross armband that might as well paint a target. I pulled him aside after. You stay back, Thorne. Patch holes, don't make 'em. He met my eyes, steady for once. I'll be where I'm needed, Sarge. That's the oath. I spat tobacco juice into the mud. Needed? He was a walking prayer for disaster. We humped out at noon, the air thick with humidity and the stink of rotting vegetation. Flies buzzed like bullets, landing on open sores. Elias tripped twice on vines, clanging his canteen loud enough to wake a coma patient. Quiet, damn it. I hissed. He apologized, voice small, but kept glancing at the Bible peeking from his pocket. The platoon ignored him now, Smitty cracking jokes about Tokyo Rose's latest broadcast, promising candy and girls if we surrendered. Tell her Sparky's comin' with his Thompson, he'd say, and we'd laugh to keep the fear at bay. By evening, we hit the base of the ridge. Coral cliffs shot up 100 feet, sheer as a wall, laced with Jap caves spitting death. Mortars thumped distant, walking fire toward us. We dug in shallow scrapes, ponchos overhead against the downpour. Elias offered to check blisters on Hale's feet, swollen from the march. The preacher grumbled, but let him. Kid worked quick, lancing pus with a scalpel from his kit, wrapping in clean gauze. Feels better already, Hale admitted later, but shot me a look like he was betraying the code. We razzied pacifists. It kept the edge sharp. That night, a patrol went out. Me, Jenkins, and 2 others. Skulking through Kenai grass, we tripped a booby trap. Bamboo spike through Smitty's calf, clean through. He bit down on his glove, not a sound. We dragged him back, blood trailing like ink. Elias was waiting, lantern low. No hesitation. He cut the pant leg, probed the wound with tweezers, irrigated with boiled water from his canteen. Missed the artery, he murmured, tying off with silk thread. Injected morphine from a syringe, smooth as silk. Smitty passed out easy, woke sweating but stable. Saved the leg, maybe the man. I watched from the shadows, cigar stub clenched. Kid had hands like a surgeon, steady under pressure, knots holding firm where lesser men panic. But he still wouldn't shoot. As dawn broke, pink over the Pacific, I made up my mind. Come the assault, he'd be the burden that broke us. Or maybe, just maybe, he'd surprise. Nah, we don't do surprises for saints. Okinawa was hell's own sandbox by mid-April of 1945. The 77th had been grinding forward since Easter Sunday, but HacksawRidge stood like a middle finger from the Emperor himself. Cliffs of razor coral, caves pocked with Zero's nests, Namboos, neem mortars, even human waves when the sun set. MacArthur was hollering from his flagship, "I shall return," but he'd never said from where. We were the suckers paying in blood and bandages. Lieutenant Greer gathered us at first light, maps spread on an ammo crate, grease pencils circling the escarpment. Assault at 0600 tomorrow. 1st Battalion fixes the Japs. We climb the east face, roll him off the top. Artillery'll soften him up. The platoon nodded, faces gone under helmets. We'd lost 3 more the day before to a sniper, clean headshots, no warning. Jenkins' scope had nailed the bastard eventually, but payback don't bring back boys. Elias Thorne sat off to the side, polishing his boots like it was parade ground. No weapon, just that medic kit slung low. Greer eyed him. Then me. Sarge, your medic's ready? I grunted. One's green, sir. But he'll do. Elias looked up, met my stare. I'll be ready, Lieutenant. Greer clapped his shoulder, too gentle for my taste, and moved on. After the LT dismissed us, I pulled Elias behind a supply tent. Rain pattered on the canvas, turning the ground to soup. Listen, kid. Tomorrow's no drill. Jap's got the high ground. We're climbing blind. You ain't armed, so you stay glued to the rear, patch what falls. His jaw set, that Bible Belt stubbornness flaring. Sarge, my place is forward. Wounded don't wait for permission. I laughed bitter. Forward? You'll be a target with that Red Cross. Japs don't read Geneva. He didn't flinch. Then I'll pray harder. Prayer. That's what got under my skin. I'd seen chaplains bless the dead, not stop the dying. Elias was a student from Lynchburg, Virginia, book-smart on anatomy, could recite the circulatory system while tying a tourniquet one-handed. File said he'd volunteered as a non-combatant, oath to God over Uncle Sam. Saved a buddy in training from a ruptured appendix with a pocket knife and iodine. But here, this was meat grinder, not med school. I sized him up, 5'9", wiry, hands calloused from farm work back home. Fine, but you screw up, it's on you. The day blurred into prep. We zeroed Garens on coconuts. Ping of 8-round clips emptying sweet. Smitty tested his field radio, static crackling like bad omens. Hale sharpened his bayonet on a whetstone, humming a hymn. Elias? He inventoried his kit. Morphine syrettes, plasma bottles, sulfapacks. Practiced knots on a rope end. Bolin, clove hitch, surgeon's loop. Learned these tying slings in the oar, he said to no one. Jenkins snorted. Tie a noose for the Emperor. Document. The kid just smiled faint, like he pitted the hate. Night fell heavy, stars hidden by clouds pregnant with storm. I couldn't sleep, mind chewing on the plan. Greer's assault was ballsy, grappling hooks and ropes up 100-foot sheer face under mortar fire. We'd lost half a squad last try, bodies tangled like marionettes. My gut said trap. Japs knew we were coming. Tokyo rose mocking us on shortwave. American dogs, your graves await. But orders were orders. Eisenhower planned D-Day on less. MacArthur expected no less here. Around midnight, Elias approached the CP, Bible open. Sarge, mind if I pray for the platoon? I waved him off, irritable. Save it for the wounded, Thorne. He lingered. Permission to join the forward recon, sir? I can spot casualties early. Recon? That was suicide. Scout the cliff base pre-dawn, mark safe climbs. I stared, seeing my chance. The kid was a pacifist fool, but useful bait. Send him ahead, alone, on some fool's errand. Let the ridge claim him quiet-like. My veterans deserved better than babysitting a saint. All right, Thorne. You want forward? Take this. I handed him a spool of commo wire and a hand-crank field phone. Old surplus, heavy as sin. String line to the east knoll, half-mile out. Spot Jap positions. Report back by 0400. No noise, no lights. His eyes widened. Knoll was exposed. Mind grasped between us and the cliffs. Sarge, that's an order, private. Prove you're worth the air you breathe. The platoon, eavesdropping, went still. Smitty whispered to Hale, Hawk's testing him. Elias swallowed, nodded. Yes, sir. I'll get it done. He vanished into the dark, wire trailing like a lifeline. I watched till the shadows swallowed him, then turned to the others. Rack out, boys. Dawn's coming bloody. Inside, Doubt gnawed. Kid had skill with wounds, saved Smitty's leg clean, but recon? Against fanatics who'd charge with bamboo spears? Nah, he'd crack, or a knee mortared find him. One less burden. As thunder grumbled distant, I lit a lucky, inhaling deep. War was choices. Save your own, sacrifice the weak. Elias was weak. Tomorrow, we'd climb without him. But as the hours ticked, wire paid out steady on the reel. No call, no shot. By 0300, a faint crank buzzed the phone at CP. Greer's radio man patched it. Elias' voice, hushed. Sarge, wires strung. Knoll clear, 2 bunkers low, mortar pit high. Japs asleep. I grabbed the handset. You crazy, Thorne? Get back. Static, then, running now. See you at the wall. Click. Dawn broke gray, artillery thundering prelude. We humped to the base, ropes coiled, grenades fat in pouches. Elias materialized from mist, wire coiled neat. face streaked, but eyes alive. Report solid, Sarge. I grunted, hiding surprise. Stay back. He saluted crisp. Assault kicked off, shells screaming, cliffs shuddering. We hooked lines, hauled up hand over hand, Garens banging at cave mouths. Mortars answered, air thick with screams. Halfway up, hell broke. Jap fire raked the face, Namboos chattering, grenades bounding. Jenkins took one in the thigh, rope fraying under him. Hold, I yelled, clipping on. Below, men slipped, plummeting silent. Elias? Nowhere. Good, I thought. Let him wire from safety. But as we crested the lip, into the flat top pocked with craters, the real grinder hit. Japs counterattacked, bonsai screams echoing. We fell back to a reverse slope, digging frantic with entrenching tools. Casualties piled. Hale gutshot, screaming, Smitty's arm mangled by shrapnel. Greer called for medevac, but choppers couldn't touch down, too hot. Hold the line, he bellowed. 45 blazing. That's when I saw Elias scrambling up last, bag banging. No rifle, but hauling a wounded man fireman's carry. Private Ruiz, leg shattered. Kid dumped him gentle, ripped pants, packed the wound with sulfa, tied a splint with vine and belt. Morphine in, calm words. Hang on, brother. Bullets chipped coral inches away. I fired my carbine dry, reloading blind. Thorn. Rear. He ignored, crawling to Hale next. Risk? This was insanity. But his hands, damn, they worked miracles. Stem bleeds I'd thought fatal. Yet as Japs closed, bayonets glinting, I cursed the gamble. Saved him for recon, now he'd die with us. Fool's oath. By noon on that cursed day in April 1945, HacksawRidge had us by the throat. The escarpment's top was a moonscape of shell holes and splintered trees, air reeking of cordite and burnt flesh. We'd gained the crest, barely, but the Japs hit back like demons from the pit. Their caves vomited troops, Imperial Army fanatics, faces painted camo, Arisakas thrusting. No surrender in him, they'd fight to the last grenade. Lieutenant Greer went down early, chest opened by a bayonet lunge he barely parried. Push, forward. He gasped before medic work swallowed him. Command fell to me, Hawk Whitaker, with 20 men bleeding into the coral. We'd clawed up the face on ropes and sheer grit. Artillery pounding the bunkers till the cliffs wept dust. But Greer's plan, flank and roll, unraveled fast. Intel missed the honeycombs. Interlocking fields of fire, mortars zeroed to the inch. First wave pinned us on the reverse slope, a shallow lip dropping 50 feet to the seaside. Dig in. I roared over the din, entrenching tool flashing. Shovels bit rock, sparks flying, hands blistering. Smitty cranked his radio. Fire mission, over. But brass was jammed, lines cut by counter battery. The trap snapped shut when the knee mortars walked in. Whump whump, shells arcing lazy, then bursting in air showers of shrapnel. One caught Jenkins full. He folded like paper, dead-eye no more. Sarge, Hale yelled from his hole, clutching guts. Blood pooled dark. I crawled over, carbine slung, firing from the hip at shadows swarming the forward crest. Japs yelled bonsai. Suicide rush, grenades clutched like holy relics. My Garand. Wait, no. I'd grabbed the LT's Thompson after he fell, chattered, dropping two. But ammo burned quick, clips rattled empty. Losses mounted like debts. Ruiz, the kid Elias hauled up, took a head wound. Skull caved, gone instant. Preacher Hale whispered scripture between coughs. Yeah, though I walk. Before bubbling silent. Smitty's arm hung by shreds. He tied it off one-handed, still calling chords. Splash over. A barrage answered. Ours, thank God. But short, cratering our flank. Friendly? No time to curse. Japs exploited, bounding forward in rushes, Namboos stitching the air. I hunkered in a crater, 8 men left fit. Elias? Lost him in the chaos, figured a round found the fool early. Good riddance. One less mouth praying while we bled. Form on me. I bellowed, voice raw. Plan. Counter push to the caves, flame him out. But as we rose, MG fire, twin 7. 7s from a pillbox, pinned us flat. Tracer rounds whipped low, kicking dirt. One nicked my boot, heel numb. Suppress. Smitty lobbed grenades, blasts muffling screams. But the gun dug in, barrel winking. Panic crept, the 1,000-yard stare in boy's eyes. Youngest, Private Lyle from Ohio, froze mid-reload, Garen limp. Move, Lyle. I slapped his helmet. He blinked, fired wild. Japs close to grenade range. Steel hand grenades? Wait. No. Type 97s. Potato masher kin. Bounding erratic. One rolled in our hole. I kicked it downhill. Blast singeing brows. Shrapnel peppered Smitty's back. He arched. Radio smashed underfoot. By hour 3, we were meat. Med kits empty. Water gone to fevers. Hale coated out. Eyes glassy. Tell Ma. He gasped. I nodded. Throat tight. Greer clung by thread. Elias work. Plasma drip rigged from a bootlace. But no evac. Choppers buzzed distant. Waved off by AA. MacArthur's big push, they said. Bull. This was bulge on a cliff. Ardennes echo, but with typhoons and zealots. Dark thoughts hit. Why'd I send Thorne on recon? Wire report saved us initial climb, but now? Wasted. Kids' knots and prayers no match for this. Japs probed constant, snipers plinking helmets. One round grazed Lyle's shoulder. He yelped, dropped his piece. Pick it up, but he clutched the wound, blood hot. No Elias to stitch. We die piecemeal. Sun baked the dead, flies feasted. Smitty croaked, Sarge, thinking of Philly cheesesteaks. I forced a grin. Save me one, Sparky. Inside, rage boiled, at brass, at Japs, at fate. We'd held Leyte beaches, this rock break us. As dusk bled red, a fresh bonsai built. Horns wailing, figures massing. Fix bayonets. Futile. My mind flashed home. Wife's letter. Fight smart, Harlan. Smart? This was slaughter. Then, faint. Crack of a Garand? No. Our silent, conserving. But from the rear caves, shouts Japanese. Panic? A grenade popped distant, orange flash. Japs faltered, heads turning. Our MG tormentor stuttered, crew yelling. What the hell? Eyes front. I ordered, but hope flickered. Trap within trap? Or ghosts? We used it. Crawled, dragged wounded. Smitty on my back, dead weight. Bullets chipped close, but the pressure eased. Japs pulled back, reorganizing. In the lull, I checked Greer, pulse thready. Hang on, sir. No medic. Thorne's ghost, maybe. Night fell full, stars pricking clouds. Patrols out, no contact. Boys whispered of guardian angels. I scoffed, but scanned shadows. That recon wire hummed empty now. Kid dead, sure. But something stirred the hornet's nest behind lines. Gamble paid? Nah, just delaying the end. Night on Hacksaw Ridge was blacker than a Jap cave. April 1945 humidity, turning sweat to glue. We'd clawed a toehold on the escarpment's crown, but it felt like squatting in Satan's latrine. 12 of us left, fit or feigning, huddled in craters linked by shallow scrapes. Wounded moaned soft, morphine dreams. Lieutenant Greer breathed shallow, Elias Field dressing holding his chest like hope on a thread. Smitty nursed his arm stump, tourniquet biting blue. The air hummed with distant booms. Navy shells offshore, too far to touch us. Japs owned the dark, their snipers owned souls. I'd sent runners for resupply. 2 boys vanished silent. No brass, no air. MacArthur's, island hopping, had hopped us into a box. Platoon eyes gleamed fever bright, the stairs settling in. Lyle, the Ohio kid, rocked fetal, murmuring for mom. Snap it, private. I growled, but gentle, seen too many crack. We passed canteens, last drops brackish. Rations? Crumbs. Bayonets fixed, Garans clutched like talismans. Around 0200, the shadow moved. We'd pinned under that cursed Nambu nest all day. Twin barrels from a coral bunker, 50 yards downslope. Crew invisible, but fire steady, tracers lacing night. Ammo low, we'd hunkered, trading pot shots. Then, a ping, sharp as ice cracking. Garand in block clip dumping. From where? Our lines silent, conserving. But downslope, a yelp, Japanese. Followed by thud, body slumping. Platoon stirred. What the? Smitty hissed, peeking. I crawled to lip, carbine ready. Another ping, deliberate, single shot. Silhouette jerked in the bunker mouth, fell clutching throat. Nambu fell quiet, crew scrambling. Grenade humphed inside. Flash-lit faces, screams echoing. Bunker vomited smoke, figures staggering out. Our turn. Thompson's barked, dropping M. 3 down, nest silenced. Who? Hale's ghost. Wait. No. Young Carter, radio man now, whispered. I scanned rear, toward the untouched caves where Japs massed for dawn bonsai. Flicker, muzzle stab, brief. Ping again, officer toppling mid-yell, sword clattering. Japs panicked. Arasaka's flashing wild into brush. Yerazamatai. Something frantic. Their rear erupted. Shouts, bursts uncontrolled. Hope. Dangerous word. But we used it. Cover fire. I ordered. Remaining rifles cracked. Smitty's one-handed, while snapping out trance. We dragged Greer to better cover, plasma bag swinging. A Jap truck, stolen Yank Jeep, loaded ammo, loomed in headlights sudden. Tires squealed. Then crack. Tires shot. Vehicle swerved, slammed rock. Fuel ignited, whoosh orange, secondary blasts popping like fireworks. Japs scattered, shadows fleeing. Ghost, Sarge. Carter breathed, a cracking voice. I grunted. Shut up and shoot. But mind raced. Recon? No patrols out. Airdrop glitch. Nah, too precise. That wire Thorn strung. Kid's voice on phone. Comm report. Dead men don't ping Garants. Wait, Elias had no gun. Oath. But maybe scavenged? Or ally. Angels, Lyled say. Chaos spread. Japs counterbuild faltered. Horns silenced. Rushes aborted. Mortars hushed. Crews diverting. Our hull breathed. We redistributed ammo from the fallen, bandaged fresh. Smitty rigged a demo charge from Hale's pack. Careful, one arm, to lob at a probe. Blast scattered M, bot time. By 0400, Shadow worked flanks. Ping grenade ping. Another cave mouth cleared, screams muffled. Japs pulled in, tightening noose round nothing. We crept forward yards, reclaiming ground. Found signs. Boot prints small, medic cross faint in mud. Twisted gut, Thorn? Alive? Impossible. Recon half-mile. He'd looped back. Kid froze in first fire. Now this? Dawn grade east, Navy shells walking closer. Platoon rallied. Eyes sharper, grips firm. Whatever it is, it's ours, I muttered. Carter nodded, cranking radio remnant. Breakthrough, over. Static answered, but hope stuck. Shadow faded as light crept. Japs hunkering. We'd hold till relief, if it came. Gamble on Thorn? Paid dividends. But saints don't haunt, men do. If Kid lived, owed him. If not, ghosted do. The shadow wasn't magic. It was methodical. Each ping echoed M1 cadence, familiar from training. But Thorns? No clip for him. Borrowed from dead. Risky. Platoon buzzed low. Doc's work. I silenced them. Superstition kills. Yet as flames from the Jeep lit night hellish, illuminating cave mouths, I saw a rope. Coiled neat. Knots surging tight. Thorn's touch. Kitted infiltrated rear, picking off leaders silent. How? Pacifist my ass. Oath bent, not broke? No. Saved, not killed. Wait. Pings wounded. Grenades from captured stock? Mystery fueled us. We pushed a feint. Bayonets low, creeping. Japs fired wild. Attention split. Casualty count held. No new reds. Greer stirred. Whispered. Good work, Hawk. Faint smile. Smitty joked weak. Ghost wants Philly steak. Laughter rippled. First since Crest. As false dawn pinked, shadows stilled. Japs regrouped, but fractured. We'd glimpsed salvation in dark. Thorn or not, it bought breath. Hold till sunup, navied pound. Inside, respect stirred, for the gamble, for the ghost. War's surprises? Rare, but real. Sunup on Hacksaw brought no mercy. April 1945, baking the dead where they lay. We'd clawed through night on Ghost's grace. Nambu nests quiet. Jap rear in disarray. But dawn rallied him. Horns blaring. Figures swarming crest like ants on sugar. Imperial diehards. Old men and boys mixed. Bayonets thirsting. My remnant platoon. 10 souls. Half walking wounded. Braced in craters. Garens slick with dew and blood. Smitty's radio sparked fitful. Hold. Relief inbound. Lies maybe. Navy guns thundered distant. Shells whistling wide. The push hit hard. Arasaka's cracked. Bullets spanging coral. A knee mortar round cratered 10 yards left, showering grit. Lal screamed, shrapnel thigh deep. Tourniquet. I yelled, but kit's bare. Japs closed, grenade volleys bounding. One pinned us, Type 99 hissing. I dove, blast ringing ears, nails ragged from dirt. Rose firing, Thompson hot. Dropped 2, but line buckled. Carter fell clutching gut, radio crushed. Sarge, tell M. Doom settled. We'd held line, but price steep. Greer flatlined quiet. Elias work valiant, but mortal. For Patton's sake, I'd muttered earlier, thinking of the general's drive. But here, no tanks, just cliffs and zeal. Japs massed for kill, officer waving katana, bellowing charge. Fix, feudal ammo, clips near dry. Then, chaos anew. Rear caves erupted, not pings, but screams raw. Smoke billowed thick, grenades chaining. A Type 97 cluster cooked off premature, shredding attackers. Japs wheeled, firing blind into mist. Our ghost struck final. Rope swing? No, figures tumbling, bound clumsy. Wait, knots. From smoke, lone shape emerged. Elias Thorne, filthy, cross armband torn. Hauling a wounded Jap? No, dragging lines, rigging drops. He'd scouted deeper night, used recon wire for tripwires, knots anchoring pulleys from cliff vines. Captured grenades, lobbed precise. Non-lethal arcs wounding knees, sowing panic. Medical smarts, new pressure points, improvised slings dropping men safe, not dead. Oath held. He saved enemy too, binding bleeds mid-mayhem. Pings. Borrowed Jenkins scoped Garand, wounding only, leg shots, shoulder taps. Crippled command, not corpses. Japs broke, fleeing caves. We rose, firing economical, last rounds counting heads. Smitty covered, one arm blazing. Thorne scrambled our line, bag open. Sulfo on Lyle, Surrett to Carter. Breathe slow, calm as clinic. Hands flew, bowl and tourniquet, clove hitch sling. Saved 3 instant, triaged rest. As dust cleared, relief crested. 1st Battalion, fresh, Sherman's rumbling bass. But we held alone. Thorne approached, spent, Bible blood-flecked. Sarge, ridge secure. Pulley systems set, lower wounded clean. Voice steady, no boast. Eyes met mine. Boy gone, man forged. I stared, mud-caked, cuts weeping, but unbowed. 75? Brassed count later. He rigged drops all night, hauling one by one under fire. Lowered Hale's kin, Ruiz's mate. Ropes taut, knots unyielding. Saved us wholesale. No kill, all mercy. Platoon gaped, Smitty whistled low. Document. You. No words from me. Oath bent world. I nodded sharp. Hawk salute, silent. Clapped shoulder, firm. Later, under Navy barrage fading, by foxhole fire, past Fanny flask, rye burned smooth. Drink, Thorne. He took, eyes wet. For the brothers, Sarge. Brotherhood sealed, no more burden. Ridge fell that day, Okinawa cracked. Thorne got papers, medal from Truman himself. But for us, nod sufficed. War took saints rare, we kept one. Reckoning hit visceral. Smoke cleared slow, acrid on tongue. Japs routed, bodies strewn, wounded mostly, Thorne's mercy twist. He'd infiltrated dawn pre-dawn, using coral cracks for cover, medic stealth. Rigged vines to ropes, Boland secure, hauling crates as counterweights. First drop. Carter, slung gentle, down 100 feet to base medics. One down, he'd radioed faint, wire reused. Under Nambu bursts, he worked. Not. Lower, repeat. Bullets zipped. One creased his arm. He tied self, continued. 75 by count. Platoon, stragglers, even Japs he patched neutral. Fanatic broke under care, spilled cave maps. Saved more than lives, broke siege. As relief hit, Thorne slumped, exhausted. All accounted, Sarge. I gripped arm, bruised rainbow. OU document first kindness. Flask past circle, to ghosts. Laughter real. Home later, letters flew, saved my boys, to wife. Thorne. Fought on, unbroken. War's arc, burden to brother. Not said all.